This is so funny. Good evening, and welcome to Suffering in Silence with Evangelist Tia on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. Love Bay, we are continuing to rise out of the ashes together. Our topic on this evening is how to survive. And we have with us our co-host, Erin Michell. So I think we're going to have a good 60 minutes moving forward. Listeners, if you have any questions or comments for our guest or um, well, for our co-host Erin or myself, you can email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com. You can also text us at the number 437-778-3299, and we will get your question or comment answered. We will absolutely respond to you. If you have any resources that you would like to share with us on a national or local level from your country, from your community, local organizations, or your faith community, you can also email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com. And with that, Erin, I would ask if you would greet our listeners and viewers on this evening.
Yes. Hi, everybody from the Love Bay community all over the globe. It's so good to be with you on this Friday or Saturday, wherever you are. Just really always a pleasure to be in this community, to be working alongside Evangelist Tia in her organization, Rise Out of the Ashes. And I'm a board member of that organization. And we've known each other for several years now. And we just really come together to support each other and the community in rising out of the ashes, literally sometimes and metaphorically, just from situations where we find ourselves in or people in the community find themselves in that they really need help to rise out of the ashes, rise out of violence, rise out of harm, and really reclaim their lives again. So Evangelist Tia will talk more about Rise Out of the Ashes and our work in the community, really supporting people with immediate needs to get out of dangerous situations. And that is a gap that really isn't filled by larger organizations, things like hospital visits or doctor's visits, school supplies, paying phone bills, even cab rides, and all kinds of things that we on a day-to-day basis just can't even fathom that might be necessary if you find yourself or your children in a dangerous situation and need to extricate yourself from that. So it's really just such an honor to be on the board and doing this kind of work in the community and having conversations through Love Bay Radio and through this radio show with Evangelist Tia, because it's always so uplifting because she's always talking about solutions. And that's, I think that's really part of the solution is having tough conversations so we know how to deal with, the situation that we're in. So again, my name is Erin Michell, and I am a friend and colleague of Evangelist Tia, and I've worked mainly in Indigenous communities over the last several years, supporting women to empower them and work with them on a holistic level through self-defense training and empowerment tools and practices. I myself have walked through sexual violence in my own life as a teen and then as a young adult. So I am fully aware of the impact of that from my own experience. So I look forward to this conversation tonight around how to survive.
Yes. So, Erin, thank you so much. And thank you for the mention of Rise Out of the Ashes. So, Love Bay, as Erin mentioned, one of the things that we do, and I think, I don't want to say it's the most important, but at the top of the list for me is the rapid funding that we are able to help individuals with. And in the list of things that we do, it's also a relocation. And so we just recently, within the past 2 weeks, we were able to help someone relocate from one state to another. The situation was immediate. The situation was dangerous. And, this person needed to go. And because of the donations that we have received, we were able to help this individual and her family move. And we want to be able to continue to help individuals with that. So if you want to support us financially, you can go to GoFundMe and look for our nonprofit, Rise Out of the Ashes, Inc. If you would like to write a check, you can write a check out to Rise Out of the Ashes, Inc. And our mailing address is P.O. Box 15, Drexel Hill, PA 19026. And I think a major difference between us and some of the larger organizations, I would say, is the time frame on what we do. Because when this individual and other individuals have come to us, there's not 2 or 3 weeks and a bunch of paperwork that you have to fill out. And we do our due diligence. We know what we're doing and what we're getting into and who we're helping and how we're helping. But we don't have a ton of paperwork that you need to fill out after you've described how your life is in danger and you need to go. We've gotten calls, all of us, at some time at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I need help. I need to get from one place to another. And we've been able to do that. And I want to be able to continue to do that. So I thank you for your help. I thank you for your support. And what we do, this isn't something that we can put together a list of names and situations and just publicize it. What we do is so personal, it's so important, and we keep the safety and well-being of clients. We hold it in the utmost care. So I can't give you a list and say this person moved from this place to that place. This person needed these finances for we can't do that. And I think it's understood. And I love Bay. I do believe that you understand why we can't. But we are using these finances to help individuals in the ways that need to be helped. If you need food, you need food. I don't need 2 and 3 pages of paperwork for someone to prove to me that your life is in danger. And I believe that my own personal experience has given me that touch of compassion and awareness to know and understand, you know what, I don't need a driver's license right now. I need to help this person. So that's what we do. And if you would like to help us, again, please do, because I want to be able to continue to do what we do. I don't want to turn people away. I don't want to stop. I don't want to come to that point, it's the end of the road and we don't have the finances, so we can't go on. I never want to get to that place. So I am, again, asking Love Bay for your help. Because if any one of you, Love Bay, if you come to us, we want to be able to help you. So help us to help others. And I pray that if it's one of you, Love Bay, that comes and reaches out, we will be able to do what needs to be done without all the paperwork, without all the questions, without the embarrassing protocols that usually lead to nowhere anyway. So, long spiel to say we need your help. So thank you for doing that. We also want to share the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Their website is thehotline.org. Their phone number is 800-799-7233. That is in the United States. Also in the United States, the National Helpline for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services. Their phone number is 800-662-4357. In Australia, we have the National Family Violence Counseling Service. Their website is www.1800respect.org.au. Their phone number is 1-800-737-732. And then in Canada, we have the Canadian Women's Foundation. Their website is canadianwomen.org. Their phone number is 1-866-293-4483. And with that, we want to continue to emphasize, no matter where you live, look for your national websites and phone numbers to get help, to get resources. And when you reach out to those national locations, they should be able to direct you to locations that are closer to you locally, where you are. So again, Love Bay, our topic on tonight is how to survive. And, as Erin said earlier, I like solutions. I like practical steps. I don't like to just throw things out there and say things just to say it. We as individuals, we need some things to be able to follow up on, some things just to do or to say to help you move forward. So we're talking about practical steps on moving forward if you're dealing with or if you have dealt with issues of domestic violence. Um, if you are currently dealing with domestic violence, you have to do what is best for yourself, and only you know what that is. Absolutely reach out for counseling, reach out to your support group, utilize your support system. Your first step may even to be putting that support group together. So you do what you need to do. But Erin, on today, and I know we had this conversation planned for a few weeks now. We were supposed to have this conversation a while ago, but I was out today, and while I was driving, there were two thoughts that came to me. And so I want to share those two thoughts, those 2 points, but one of them might change the trajectory of the conversation. I don't know. But in thinking of how to survive, one of the things that I thought of today was you have to learn how to say no to other people while saying yes to yourself. I think that's one thing. But the other point that came to me, Erin, was um, and I wanted to make it clear, we are not speaking to individuals in a sense of trying to figure out how to manage domestic violence if you are able to leave. If you have the option to leave and you're choosing to stay, we're not trying to help you stay there. So that is, I thought about that as I was driving, because that's an issue that I have come across. I have spoken to individuals who feel like I know what the situation is. It is what it is. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to stick with it, even though I have the option to leave. I do not advise anyone to do that. I will not co-sign on that. And to individuals um, in that predicament, if you are consciously making that choice, I would say you have issues that you need to deal with, because there is something wrong with knowing and understanding that you are being hurt and abused in any kind of manner, and you can leave, but you won't. You're convincing yourself to stay. Um, Something is wrong with that. And I would never tell anyone that that's okay. And so I have had conversations with a couple people. I've had to say, if this is the decision that you're making, if you're going to stay here, then you can't use me and you can't monopolize my time to try to make you feel better for the choice that you made. So you can't call me at 11 o'clock every night. You can't call me 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and run through the scenario of what it is that you're dealing with, but also that you don't have to deal with it. That's not um, that's not fair to whomever you're putting that burden on. And I would say even that's a form of manipulation itself. I think that's a form of a mental and emotional abuse, using that individual in your support circle to dump that on them, and you're not only that you're not trying to change, like you consciously made the decision, I'm not going to. Um, that's not okay. So I wanted to be very, very clear. That is not what we're doing tonight. If you've made a conscious decision to stay where you are and you can leave, no, we're not trying to help you along to stay in that, because that is not okay. And it's completely different if you are in a situation and you want to go and you can't. It's different if you're in a situation and there are things that are being held over you, your family, your children, finances, where you cannot move the way you want to move. You can't make the decisions that you want to make. That's completely different. So, Erin, I wanted to throw that out there, and I wanted to give you a chance to to follow up on that before we move further, because I have noticed that that is an issue with male and female victims of domestic violence that I've had to speak to, and I've had to make that clear. It's not okay. And I think these individuals in particular were looking for someone to give them a pat on the back and hold their hand and say, yes, you can sit here and I'll sit here with you. And that's not the answer that I'm giving. So
yeah, that's great. It's tied into what you said too with boundaries, and also just knowing yourself and knowing what you're here to do. And like there might be another person in their life, a friend, a family member that can listen and hold their hand in that way. But when you're talking about domestic violence and the work that you do and that we do as an organization, I think that I really just want to honor your boundary there and your clarity around what you're bringing to the table and what you're, and what you really want to offer. And so I hear you loud and clear that if the possibility to leave is there and you can have your needs met and your resources are accessible, and there's no further physical logistical reason that you can't leave. I do believe, I love that you're just straight talk. You're just straight talk. And some call it tough love. Some call it real love, like that's real love, because you're saying, take a look at yourself, take a look at what in you would have you choose to stay in an abusive relationship.
yeah.
And I think just thank you for being so honest and being so clear about what you bring to the table and what you're willing to accept and not accept in that process.
Yeah. And I think it's I think it's part of the healing process, not only for victims and survivors, but as part of the healing process for those who would be in the support group, for the ministers, for the counselors, for the family members, for the friends, because there's a healing process that support group goes through as well. And I believe you come to a place of maturity where you can see this is not healthy and I have to say no here, or I have to say yes, or I have to point out the truth. And I'm not talking about stepping into anyone's life and pointing a finger and like, I'm getting ready to tell you A, B, C, and D what's wrong. No, if you open a door, if you invite me in, if you're calling me, if you pull me aside and you want to have this conversation, and we go through all of this, and you tell me, but I'm staying, I can go. No, I'm not going to give you a great big hug and tell you that that's okay, because it's not. And I tell you because on the other side, I have a whole lot of individuals who can't leave, who want to leave. There may be a phone call, someone can't get through to me because you made a call just to tell me you're staying there, and I couldn't take the call, from someone else. So that just hit me on today, and I just wanted to throw that out there because I didn't want to be misleading any kind of way with the title, and because I have had this situation come across my table, I just wanted to be clear on that. But as we're speaking about victims and survivors, you're trying to manage your life, and some of us have been able to get out of abusive relationships and are trying to focus on moving forward. One of the, I, I would even say for me that this was the most important thing. I would say you can't live in the past. You can't keep replaying scenarios over and over in your mind. And I know for me personally, I had to stop doing that. I had to focus on what I wanted and I had to move forward. I couldn't keep doing to myself, I should have made this decision. I should have did that. I should not have done this. It's torturing yourself, and you can't do that. You can't torture yourself and move forward because your abuser or perpetrator did enough of that. So don't do it to yourself. So for me personally, one of the biggest things was to not live in my past. I had to acknowledge it, and I had to do what I needed to do for myself. I had to go through counseling. I had to I had to come out of the areas of denying my feelings and my emotions, and I had to call my sadness for what it was. I had to call the depression for what it was. I had to call the anger for what it was and deal with it. Um, but I couldn't stay stuck in the reason that got me there. Just had to keep moving forward. And I don't want to imply that it's easy at all. It's not, because sometimes one small memory can just, like on loop, just play over and over in your mind like a movie. And I had to learn how to get out of that. And even now, some things will come, and I have to use the tools that I know are available to me now to get out of it. So if a thought wants to come back and starts replaying, then I know I have to change my thought. I have to purposely put my mind on something else. I have to have a conversation with a friend. If I need to speak to my counselor, I'll do that. If I need to focus on my work, I'll do that. If I need to focus on ministry, I'll do that. I know something that was a great help to me, it very, very huge, is me helping other people. It just seemed like, even if I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do for myself, if I could help another person in the smallest way, that just took a huge weight off of my shoulders. So even just to put down my story, to put down thinking about me and focus on someone else, even if I can help her or him get to a place where I'm not at yet, for me that was huge. That was great. But I had to start with letting the past go. And again, it's not easy, but I think it's very, very important that you start taking the steps to put the past behind you. And I would say, even if you're in the situation right now, that can't be your total focus, because you have to think about you. You have to be able to plan your next step. So even as recent as, I can't think about this morning, I need to think about, what am I going to do right now, and what's going to get me to where I want to be. So I think it's not being stuck in a space, even though it's hard, it's hurtful. And again, yes, you acknowledge it. We're not talking about denial, but don't get stuck there. Does I hope that was clear, makes sense.
Incredible. Yeah, of course. I second that, I second that, not staying in the past. And what's interesting, Tia, when I was thinking about how to survive, there's a lot of conversation around our survival instincts.
Yeah.
And they kick in right when we are in immediate danger. And immediate danger means immediate danger. That's what they're built for. Even if you're still in danger, immediate danger is when the survival instincts should kick in. The
Yes.
minute that immediate danger is gone, that's when we need to begin to work, as you were saying, with our thoughts, with tools and practices, so that we can regulate our nervous system in a way where we're able to start to be able to have the capacity to make a decision. Because when we're in that PTSD, or that immediate survival instinct, fight or flight or freeze or fawn state, our nervous system can't make decisions.
Yeah.
It literally cannot make decisions. So I think learning those tools and practices to, regulate your nervous system, calm your nervous system down, then you can start to piece the plan together. And not only for the plan, but also just for your own healing and for your own ability to end the physical, psychological, emotional torment that an experience of violence would have imprinted on your nervous system.
Yeah.
And so and this, what you were saying about living in the past is like, our nervous systems, our subconscious can still be living in the past, even though we're logically consciously wanting to live in the now and the future. And so sometimes that can cause a little bit of chaos, like a chaotic feeling or a tension or a stress
Yeah.
can come up. And so we have to learn how to regulate that, and just be aware that it's happening and that it's okay and that it's normal.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, logically, I'm not in a dangerous situation, but man, I'm feeling like I am, you know? And
Yeah.
then that's when we can go into those practices and tools to do that, to balance that out so that our subconscious and our conscious are in alignment. And then that's when we can really move forward with a lot of energy.
Yeah. But I think what you just said, just being aware, that is a huge thing. Like I may not have the answer to do what I need to do right now, but I am aware that what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling isn't lining up. I'm aware that something I just completely didn't expect just triggered me. I'm aware of whatever it is. I'm aware of the chaos. I'm aware of the quiet. I'm aware of whatever it is. I think that is a huge step. So part of surviving is, again, being honest and not being in denial. It's and being aware, and then once you become aware, then you can figure out, okay, what is the next step, then what do I do now? Because if that thing or that one triggers you again, now I know what to do, and now I know how to handle it. And it comes with experience. I would say time is your friend, because whatever situation happened to any of us, it did not happen overnight. And I say this all the time, you will not come out of it overnight. It doesn't happen like that. It's a process, and you make progress in your process. I think time is your friend. And so, just as you said, just that first point of being able to become aware and then deal with it, because you don't want to become aware of it and then you run away from it. You don't want to be aware and then you try to tuck it away and hide it. No, we're talking about being truthful and being able to move forward. Um, and it could be the most simplest things. Again, I believe time is your friend. I am in a place today that I was not in 10 years ago. So now I'm about 10 years removed from my situation. I can honestly say that I am now getting back into a place of rest and um, relaxation, just being able to enjoy time with myself. I mean, it's something that I've been working on, but I really feel like, okay, now I have a hold on it. Now I'm in a good spot with that. 10 years later, I am just now starting to read the way that I used to read, because I love books. Now I have about 4 or 5 books that I'm reading now, all at the same time. It's been forever since I've done that.
Mm.
I just books by Christian authors, murder mysteries. Just one book is like a comedy. It's there's several different types of books, and I like puzzles, word search puzzles. I 10 years later, I am just now getting back into that, to where that is my rest, that is my relaxation, that's my pastime, that's what I enjoy doing it. Because there was a time where I was forcing myself to do it, because I was trying to get back to where I was. And even then, I wasn't happy, I wasn't okay. It was just the life that I was living, the life that I was managing. But today I can say I'm good. I'm in a good place. But it didn't happen overnight. And
Mm.
so part of my survival was giving myself time, letting myself just breathe, not forcing myself to do something that I thought I should be doing. I didn't read my Bible when I didn't, I just, I sometimes I couldn't, sometimes I didn't want to. Any of the other books that I had, I just didn't want to. And so I had to stop trying to make myself do what I believed was the right thing. I was trying to make myself line up with the picture of what I wanted what I wanted to be, and I wasn't feeling it. And it just naturally happened. And I think because I was doing all the other things, being able to spend time with friends and being able to do the work that I do for others, being able to just be who I am and have my counseling sessions when I needed to have them. So I think there are some aspects that will just naturally come back, but again, it will take time. And when it happens, it just happens. It was like one day I just realized I was at a bookstore, and I know that clerk was happy to see me because I was picking up everything. But I remember that feeling, being inside of a bookstore. Oh my God, I love Barnes and Nobles and Borders, and oh, I was so hurt when Borders closed.
Oh.
But I mean, just to, and that's something that's just so simple. Just wanting to read a book, and I mean, the books I'm reading now are really, they're really good. Like, John Grissom is the best. Beachy, John Eldridge. Trevor Noah has a book. I mean, I know his book has been out for a minute, I think, but I'm like just reading, and I'm just getting into it. And for me, being able to really rest. So I'll say that again: rest, relaxing, and this is a good one: delegate. You don't have to do everything yourself. you don't. You don't have to wash the dishes. Tell one of the kids to do it. Cleaning a house, laundry, with work, delegate. Let somebody else do it. It's okay, and it's okay if it's not perfect. I refuse to go into my daughter's room and make it look the way that I want it to look. I often tell myself it's her room, it's her space. Now there's a level that we will not go to, but it's her space. And it took me a minute to get there, and that's really important to me. So I mean, it could be anything to anyone, whatever it is that's important to you. But I thought that was worth mentioning. So
Love it. Yes, rest, relaxation, and delegate.
yes.
People, delegate.
And and it's okay to like what you like. Do what you do. Because oh my goodness, I love a beach. Oh my goodness, I don't care what time of year it is. I love the beach. I have stood on beaches while it was raining. I wanted to see the lightning strike, or I love it. But some people don't like the beach. Some people prefer snow. Like, you want to go skiing, go skiing. If I go skiing, I lie to you not, it's just going to be cute. I will get a whole outfit just to look really nice, because
That is
I'm not skiing down anybody's slope. But do what you do what you want to do, and if there's anything you don't want to do, don't. So I think it's part of surviving is really taking autonomy of yourself. Is you being in charge of you doing what you want to do, not doing what you don't want to do, and giving yourself time, not only to physically relax, but mentally and emotionally. There are times when you just, even if it's just a couple minutes, I found, I think you need to just quietly just sit to the side and do nothing. Just give yourself that. I think it makes a difference, because, and especially if you're a wife, if you're a mother, and you're working outside of the house, there's a lot. You're pulled in a lot of different directions. There needs to be some time, and it needs to be a regular habit where you just stop for a moment and you don't do anything, you don't say anything. It's just you and your space. Don't answer the phone. You're not searching through social media or whatever, because I think social media can raise your anxiety. Even just reading stories and things from around the world. Oh my God, who wants to read about the war and things like that? Well, wars with an S on it, things like that that does something to you. So you think about the trauma and the violence and things that are going on around the world. And if that's already present in your life, you're already dealing with that. That's not helpful. So you need to purposely, consciously shut down. Do it on purpose. Make a decision. I have a few minutes, and this is just mine, and I'm not letting anybody in.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Tia, I really, one of the ways that I've learned that I can survive well and thrive, survive to thrive, right? And is to really understand who I am. And I think you were speaking to that a lot about just do what you want to do, don't do what you don't want to do. And understanding who I am means to me being able to recognize, like, am I doing something out of obligation? Am I, some
Yeah.
people, they get filled up by a lot of people around them.
Yeah.
Some people that is depleting, and you have to be able to recognize, like, am I do I get more full from some alone time, or do I get filled up by being around a lot of community members, a lot of people? And just that might be different, that's different for everybody. So just, taking your own temperature and checking in, like, what would feel good right now, what would feel restorative to me, in this moment. I think that is a really important piece of being able to design your day so that you're not exhausted by the end of it, you
Yeah.
know that you're living a balanced schedule. And really, like, when you say take charge, it's also taking charge of how you prioritize your your time and your energy. And
Yeah.
so that's another a really important thing of just getting to know yourself and being okay that you might do it differently than somebody else. And that's really, really healthy to just recognize.
That is awesome. I think you made a great point. Ask yourself questions. Because we do need to know ourselves. We need to get to know ourselves, and it's difficult. It's hard when you're dealing with trauma because we have the fight or flight response, and so there are times when we're just really on the edge. When normally if you were in a setting, you would be okay. You would be calm. You would be collected, but something has you heightened. So you need to be able to know if this trauma was not here, or even though it is here and I'm trying to deal with it and contain it, but who am I really? Because you are not the trauma. You are not what was done to you. You are not what is happening to you. There is a you. There is a real you. Now, who are you? And I think you made a great point that starts with asking yourself questions. How do you feel in this situation? So when there's a room full of people around you, how do you feel? If you're entertaining everyone and you're making sure that everyone is good, how do you feel after that? Are you tired? Are you drained? Do you feel like you were putting on a front for everyone else? Like, did that really make you happy to do that? Because some people like to serve, some people like to help. So, is that an atmosphere that you walked away from feeling better? Or did you walk away feeling more pain and more trauma and more tired and, just more chaos on top of chaos? So you have to recognize that. Recognize your atmosphere, recognize the people around you. How do you feel after a conversation with this particular person, with that particular person? Are you heard? Do you feel like I can say what I need to say? Or are you everybody's sounding board? You have to be able to sit with yourself and know you. You know what you need. Now, I know some individuals who have to be around other people. Like, and they have a healthy attitude, they have a healthy reassurance of themselves. They just like people. And they like to function with people. They're high energy, and that's great. But is that you? Are you pretending to be something that you're not? Do you like to be in a quiet atmosphere? Do you move when you're supposed to move? You say or do whatever when you're comfortable in doing, when you need to do it, because it's okay to not be the life of the party. It really is. You just need time to know who you are, and you need to know why you're doing what you're doing. Did somebody tell you to? Or do you feel like you need to live up to pictures on Instagram and stories coming through live feed? Because I'm not on social media, but I can tell you most of that stuff is not real. It's not. I mean, my extent with social media is, putting up the flyers for the program, and things like that, and articles that have to do with bringing attention and awareness to domestic violence. It's a problem if you are posting your whole life every day, all day long, and it's a problem if every day, all day long, you're watching someone else post their life. What about you, the real you? I think if we could go back to our time, Erin, where there was
Oh
we
my God.
didn't have a Facebook, we didn't have an Instagram, we didn't have Twitter. We just had our lives where there was a portion of time you really did need to focus on you because all you had was you.
Mm.
if we could move back just a little bit, I think technology is good, but there are a lot of instances that we've seen more harm.
Yeah, a lot of adjusting that needs to happen, right?
Yeah,
The pendulum needs to come back to center a little bit.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
One of the things I was thinking about in my journey of surviving to thriving is how many tools are for free. Like,
Yes.
we think about, I mean, and the science is backing it, right? Like, so I'll just name a few off the top of my head that I've learned through through my studies, but one of them is singing and humming. Okay, so humming is tones the vagus nerve that controls your limbic system, which calms your nervous system. So that's why you settle a screaming baby down. What do? We hold them to our chest and we hum,
Mm-hmm.
and they settle right down, usually, if then they don't have colic or something. But that we can do that for ourselves. If you feel that anxiety coming on, you can hum, you can sing. Another tool to support, getting out of that kind of automatic anxious response that is often caused by previous trauma, so no immediate danger, is taking off your shoes and getting into the grass and the dirt. There's minerals in the dirt and the sand. They're calling it, scientists are calling it earthing, but like literally putting your bare feet, the soles of your feet, they are so absorbent. I remember when I was little, and if I had a chest cold, my mom would rub Vicks Vapor Rub on the soles of my feet. And I'd say, "Mom, my chest, my chest." She'd say, "No, it goes through." So this is like old. She was born in 1935. That a lot of these traditional wisdoms were around for a long time, and then they disappeared. And but that's what this earthing is about. Getting our bare feet on the ground, dancing, stimulating the soles of our feet. I'm sure tons of our listeners around the globe know this full well. How powerful that can be. But if you do have shoes on all the time, all day long, you're at work, you're in an office building, they don't see the light of day until you hit the bed. Think about like taking your shoes off. And I'm out in the desert, so there's thorns everywhere out here, so I got to be really strategic about taking mine off. But so some of these tools are really they're really, really powerful. I think another one is like that calms your nervous system is when you focus your attention. You were kind of talking about this, like refocusing your attention earlier, Tia,
Yeah.
to the dog barking, or no, I was gonna say to bird song, like birds singing.
Yeah.
Because like that takes your attention into the song and like something that's so present. and getting in the present moment is so important. So, yeah.
Well, when you said Vicks, that reminded me of the onions in the socks to break the fever, and it works. It works. But as you were talking, my thought was, we do need to understand that the physical affects the mental, and the mental affects the physical. It really does. I hate shoes. I hate wearing shoes. I will always go with shoes off whenever I can. Um, but there's a comfort in that for me to walk across grass, to walk across sand. And I love it when the sand is, if it's cool or even cold, I love it. But I love the sand when it's warm and when it's hot. But it's just,
Wise woman.
I love it. That I am still looking for. I want to attend a pottery class because I just want to feel the clay in my hands, between
Yeah.
my fingers. I
Yeah.
I can just imagine how soothing
Yes.
that would be. And so just that thought, what happens to you physically does affect you mentally, emotionally, and vice versa. And so I know that there are some things that we have experienced that were or are hard, hurtful, and traumatic. And so we really have to take time to care about ourselves. You have to care about yourself physically. I mean, on purpose, intentional. Take some time to care about you, to get outside. If you can't get outside, then pick a spot, in your home that's just for you. Go into the bathroom for a few minutes, but really just to focus on you, to center you, focus on your breathing, focus on your posture, how you're sitting in a chair or wherever you're sitting, or get a nice comfortable spot on the bed, in a chair. Whatever you do, well, you want to start the pattern. And again, I can only speak for myself wholeheartedly. What I do for myself physically on purpose, I know I'm trying to get myself into a better place mentally or emotionally. So sometimes it starts with the physical act. Sometimes it starts with, I'm going to give myself a manicure or a pedicure today. And I mean myself, not going out, but I mean, I'm going to put this stuff together. I'm going to sit on my couch, and this is what I'm going to do for me. Or there's something special that I'm going to have for myself that I'll make to eat. Or sometimes I'll just go with the ice cream and let's just cut right through. Just something special for me. So sometimes it takes an act, a physical act, me physically doing something, and that'll help me to be in a better place mentally or emotionally. And then sometimes it's vice versa. Sometimes I have to tell myself, look, this is how it's going to be, and I have to start with words. Sometimes I will look in the mirror and I will say whatever I need to say to myself, and I'll start with that. But whatever it is, it's on purpose. Again, on purpose, intentional, not staying stuck, and just making a decision to do something different. And it does not have to be anything huge or miraculous. For some individuals, I know and I understand it takes a great deal of effort to get out of the bed in the morning sometimes. I know that. And so if you find yourself in that spot, then you congratulate yourself, you love yourself, and then you move forward to the next step. So sometimes it's not something that's what the world will call awesome and amazing. Sometimes it's a small gesture, something only you may see and know and recognize, and that's okay. So when you talk about surviving, it's not always the great things. Everybody can't just hop in a jet and fly off to Paris whenever you want. Everybody can't just go to Rome or whatever at the drop of a dime. But sometimes you can just sit in your quiet spot and you can say, I love me, and I am loved. I am worthy. And sometimes you have to do that every day, several times a day. And while you're doing it, you need to know that it's true, that you are worthy and that you are loved. And I said it before, I'll say it again. You are not your trauma. You are not what happened to you. You are not what's currently going on. There is so much more to you. And sometimes we just have to make the decisions within ourselves. I am going to survive no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like. And your plan is your plan, whatever you need to do. For me, sometimes surviving was just getting up. That was a huge thing for me. At one point, surviving was being able to just exercise. Whatever it looks like for you, that is wholly and hugely important. And it's okay. And you need to have the strength within you. And even if you don't have it right now, you can get it because you build on it a little bit at a time. But you have to have the strength within you to say, I am going to make it. I am going to get through. And you are. And I'm telling you that you are because I believe that you are. I know that you are. And you will. And I think there are times when I don't want to make light of anyone's situation. I don't, because I know there are some horrible and horrendous things that some of us have going through or are going through. But I think sometimes we can make a situation bigger than what it is because we don't want to try, because we don't want to face it. So before we even try, we say, that's insurmountable. I can't do it. And I'm telling you, it's not. It may be huge. You may have a mountain before you. All right. But we're not going to climb this whole mountain at the same time, a few steps at a time. And you know what? I might not have to go up the mountain. Maybe I'll go around it, whatever. But I'm going to move. So what we know is that I'm not going to stay here in this spot. So it's not bigger than you. It's not going to take you. It's not. And I know what that feeling is like. So we do have to deal with the fear. We do have to deal with the unknown. We do have to deal with the loneliness, because more often than not, there is going to come a time when you are standing before your problem or your issue and you're standing by yourself. I know what that's like. But if you're standing by yourself, you still can stand and you still can move and you can go forward. And again, a little bit at a time. And do not compare yourself to anybody else's survival story, because I'm not you. You are not me. You have no idea of what I went through. Even though I share my story and others share their stories, you still weren't there. You still don't know everything. So do not compare yourself to anyone else. I think we do ourselves a disservice when we look at another individual and say, I wish I was her. I wish I was him. I wish, I wish, I wish. No, be happy with you. Be
And
happy.
especially the Facebook comparisons, right?
Yes.
Because
Oh
that
my God. And
that's
please let me say it again. It's not true. So
yeah, that's like one fingernail of somebody's real experience that
yes.
you could possibly see. So just
Oh
to
my goodness.
pipe that in there of self-awareness, right? And like if you're going through, I'm off social media. It's been 2.5 years. Yahoo. I'm proud of myself because it was something I wanted to do for a long time. But again, if you kind of the thoughts of going back to making choices, being, taking charge of your life, and what you're just saying, Tia, just now, about comparison, and like if you find yourself comparing better, worse, all the things from people on Facebook, I can assure you your head is in the wrong space,
Yeah,
because it's not accurate. It's not the full truth. And you could be using that energy to put together your own empowerment plan to survive and thrive, and really giving yourself that energy back that's sucking from you.
absolutely. Your survival plan might look like just being able to do a few puzzles today. Your survival plan might be getting your information together so you can complete your GED. Your survival plan might be redoing your resume, looking for a new job. It may be recreating your support circle. It may be moving some people out of your life who shouldn't be in your life. And a surefire way, again, to come to that answer, who should be around you and who shouldn't, go back to that portion when we talked about asking yourself questions. How do you feel when these people are around you? When these people walk away from you, are you empowered? Do you feel strengthened? Are you drained? Do you feel like they took everything from you and you have nothing left to give and nobody's pouring into you? Be honest with yourself. Really ask yourself these questions. And I think we just can't say it enough. Do not compare. The Facebook thing reminded me. I was watching TV with one of my daughters, and there was a commercial for McDonald's came. I think it was McDonald's. It was a fast food restaurant, and she said that food looks really good. I said, yeah, because it's painted. It's like, that is not what you're going to get when you go into the store. It looks perfect. It was a burger. The bun was perfect. Yes, because they prep for that commercial. There's makeup on the food. There's paint on the food. And it's to make it look good, to make you want it, to make you want to go out and get it. And I tell you, McDonald's is my friend. I have a 10-year-old. But commercials, the Facebook, the Instagram, that is not, it's not real. And even if it was, or even if it is, that's not
Most of it isn't.
right. Most of it isn't. But if you
Most,
happen to come across something that is real, okay, how is that going to change your life right now? What is that going to do with you? Staring at something or staring at somebody or some things, how is that going to make you feel better? Because you're wanting to be something that you're not. You're wanting to have something that you don't have. And if you became that individual or had those things, you still have to deal with your life.
yeah,
So real issues and problems don't go away because you get to be somebody else for a day. That's
yeah.
not real. It's not
Or
real.
also like the portraying, we have to be honest with ourselves, of portraying ourselves as like something to be liked, to get likes, that
Right.
maybe we're not. And like, it's okay, it's normal, we've done it, I've done it, we've
Right.
all, like, it's
Yeah.
okay. But just really, really checking in and being honest with yourself, like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this? Am I needing attention? Am I needing love? Am I needing support? Am I not liking my life right now and like feeling like I just need to hide
Yeah.
that from somebody? Like, it's okay, just be honest with yourself.
Yeah. And those are the questions that you need to ask. Those are the questions that we should be asking ourselves. And yes, at some point, yes, we wanted someone to like us for whatever reasons and like whatever project we were working on and whatever we're doing. Okay. But it is called growing up. It's called becoming mature and moving on and forward in your life, because you can't stay there. You can't stay stuck even with that. Someone liking you for whatever reason, because for whatever reason they liked you, you're going to have to keep that portrayal up in order for that person to like you. So I rather you see the real me. I would rather you deal with me who I am, because it's far more easier for me to just be me than to pretend to be something that I'm not. And I have to keep that up. But once you see me who I really am, and if you're no longer around, then you weren't supposed to be here in the first place. So
Yeah.
that goes back to asking yourself those honest questions. Some people can't even take the truth of, maybe you're dealing with some trauma, you're dealing with some issues. Some people don't want to touch that. They can't handle it, or don't want to handle it. That's a truth that you can't hide, and you shouldn't be forced to tuck away who you really are. And I'm not saying that you just go and tell everyone your story and do whatever. I'm not saying that, but there are some times where some things are visible or known or need to be known about who you are, what you do. And if you can't handle that, then you're not the person that's supposed to be near me or around me. And my survival is going to suffer because I'm trying to please someone else. I
Mm.
I refuse to do that. Been there, done it. Refuse to do it anymore.
Mm. Love it.
But so we are just at the hour, Erin. So I want to give you the last,
Oh
our
my
last
goodness. And a
night.
whole hour went by.
Yes,
Really, we're just getting started.
I know. Before we finish, let me throw this out there because I did have, I have a few more points, but this one. So I'll ask for your follow up on this one, and then you close us out for the night. But one of the last things I wanted to say was that you can forgive someone without allowing them back into your life. So extending forgiveness, because for some of us, forgiveness is a part of our survival and moving on. And if you find yourself in that place, I really wanted to emphasize that. And I did see, I think it was a quote on Twitter that referenced this as well. Forgiveness does not mean that you're allowing someone to have access into your life. So your survival isn't predicated on letting people come back to you who hurt you. No, I can forgive you and keep moving forward. Forgiveness and trust are two different things. So that was one thing that I wanted to throw out there. You do not have to allow anyone access into your life who does not deserve it, who has not earned it. And that is a part of setting boundaries. You can't survive while allowing people to come in who are going to tear that survival down. Like you've already proven it to me. You've already shown me, what you would do and how you would do it. Once I forgive you, I don't have to let you back in to do that again. So I think that is a huge part of survival. I think that is a huge part of loving yourself because I do not have to give you a second and a third chance to abuse me or to betray me. Then you can't throw anything in my face and tell me that I'm supposed to. Do not tell me that I'm a Christian. Do not tell me that I'm a minister or whatever religion we serve in, whatever it is that we're doing. Do not throw any of that at me because you want another chance to come into my space to hurt me. No. Forgiveness does not mean you have access to me to do it again. And even if I extend forgiveness to someone, I don't even need to come to you and share that. I don't need to say, well, I've done some searching in my heart and I'm okay. And no, I don't need to have a conversation with you. That's me. That happens in my heart. So your survival means doing for you what you need to do. I don't have to let you back in there. So I wanted to throw that one out there.
Thank goodness you saved that, the best for last. I mean, seriously, because I think forgiveness is a confusing topic.
Yeah.
Especially as it pertains to abuse. And you explained that beautifully. And it is really important because that resentment gets stored in our body, and our bodies are sacred. And, we have to take care of ourselves in a way that doesn't perpetuate the abuse we've walked through.
Yes.
And, we have to be aware of carrying around some of these feelings, even unconsciously. And I think for me, I'll just end with a big one for me is getting more aware of my unconscious or, kind of repetitive self-talk that I have, and just making sure I'm asking into, oh, wait a minute. I think I've been telling myself I feel like a failure. I'm a failure. Oh my God. Like I've been telling myself literally for a couple years now, because I had this thing not go the way I planned. And I'm sitting here telling myself for years, literally for years, I just figured this out, that I've been a failure and I've failed. And whoa, I was like, wow, I am not a failure. First of all, nervous system. First of all, body. Like let's be honest here. Let's get honest with ourselves, and then I have to reprogram that, right? Because that's been sitting around my body, and so we have to just be aware of like, what are those thoughts that turn to feelings, about things? What are those feelings that have an emotion attached to them?
Yeah.
Of shame, of anger, of joy, of gratitude. Like, it's not all emotions aren't bad. None of them are bad. They're normal. They're chemical responses in our body, but we have to be aware of our thoughts. Yes. And the feelings attached to those thoughts is what we have control over. So that for me is a huge piece of my ability to survive, to thrive. So, yeah.
Well, awesome. Erin, thank you so much. Love Bay, thank you for being with us. I'm sure we will continue parts of this conversation in the future. I'm absolutely positive that we will.
It's a good one.
Yes, Love Bay. If you want to catch up on previous episodes from our program, you can visit our YouTube channel, Suffering in Silence TV. We thank you so much for joining Suffering in Silence with Evangelist Tia. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. And Love Bay, we want you to remember that we are always continuing to rise out of the ashes together. Good evening.